So much has been going on across the landscape of America, but certainly in college athletics. And we've assembled some of the current USC greats, some of the past USC greats to talk about the state of college football right now. I'm Rob Stone, my Big Noon Kickoff partners, Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart right there. And from on campus at USC, I'm Amon-Ra St. Brown. Kedon Slovis, head coach Clay Helton joining us right now. We're fighting through a pandemic. We're fighting through racial turmoil. We're fighting through what amateurism actually is right now. So when the news came down that the Pac-12 was suspending all athletics through the remainder of the calendar year, can you take me through what the timeline of that day was, and including your initial emotions, and then how you said this is how we need to start messaging things and how we need to go forward?
Yeah, well, obviously, Rob, you have mixed emotions. The competitor in you and seeing how hard these young men train, you want the opportunity for them to play. But you also have to understand that you have to respect the medical information that was coming out at the time. And I appreciated Larry Scott, our commissioner, who sat us down as all our head coaches in our league with the medical professionals, and they explained it to us and said, hey guys, here are the reasons. One, our geographics. 9 of our 12 cities at the time had an infection rate that was uncontrollable and was unsafe for players at the time. Number 2, we wanted more improved testing, like Amon-Ra said, across the league, and being able to standardize testing, which we're getting to. You heard Larry Scott say the other day, going to the antigen testing and being able to possibly do this more like the NFL with testing each and every day. And third was the study of the heart. And being able to see what type of damage was this virus causing, and they needed time. So, as we were all disappointed as a football team, we also had great respect and supported the decisions that were coming from medical information that was coming to us. I've got 3 children by birth, but I've got 110 young men that I've got the honor to adopt while they're here. And sometimes you have to look at it through a father's eyes, saying this may not be the right time in our geographical area to right now go compete. And so what we're doing and what we've relayed to the team is we're going to get another opportunity. We don't know when that time comes. In the military, you have that mission and you're always preparing and training for that mission. And sometimes the conditions aren't right. Doesn't mean the mission's not going to take place. You keep training, you keep preparing. And whether that's a winter, whether that's a spring, whether that's fall of 21, whenever it will be, I'm very fortunate because I got young men that have a sense of urgency to be great and want to prepare to be great. And so that's the messaging that went out is our mission is coming. Let's continue to prepare for it.
Hey, Coach, I have a question, man. I would want to ask, because we talk about a lot on our show about, maybe the need for uniformity all across the Power 5 conferences, even with maybe possibly having one commissioner, right? One voice, maybe one medical professional voice, because as we saw during this time period, there were a lot of different opinions that were coming out, from different parts of the country. And so I wanted to ask you, how do you feel, what are your thoughts on, the Power 5 conferences finding some form of uniformity so that we don't have 3 conferences playing and only 2, sitting out?
Yeah, Reggie, this was a really hard time, and I don't hold it against anybody, to be honest with you. Unprecedented times, and what was really hard, I think, in this dynamic was where we were all located. There's a big difference between being in Los Angeles, California, and a possible college town, and what's going on in the 2 separate areas. What's a hot spot compared to maybe it's not the virus is not as bad. So the NCAA made a decision that, okay, it was up to the conferences. And at that point in time, the conferences had to make a decision that was best for them. And, from a Pac-12 standpoint, I know that we wanted to step away, one, because the priority one was the health and safety of the student athlete, but we also wanted to be able to control our own start date of a season and be able to adapt that season from a length standpoint to be a conference on a model and how many games that was. So based on geographics, I think we got locked into this thing, and everybody's a little bit different. Would it be nice to be uniform? Yes, definitely. I just don't know if that was the reality this time around in this situation. And I know conferences are trying to do the best for them. I support our conference and the decision they made. I don't think you can ever hold it against anybody that's going to put the health and safety of the student athlete first when you make that decision.
Kedon, what was the hangover like after being delivered that news, and then how long did it linger till everything became clear again and you knew what your new focus was?
Yeah, it was difficult, you know, but it was something that you kind of saw coming, I think, to an extent. You knew the decision was coming soon, and I mean, we weren't even allowed in our locker room. We were still in small groups, so it wasn't like we thought we were going to play a season at that point in time. So we did kind of see it coming from a little bit away, but it still doesn't really help the fact that we weren't playing. That was difficult. I thought we looked really good at the end of last year offensively, and then we came back, and I thought our weapons outside and what we had coming back up front looked even better. So, I thought we were really excited to get out and play, and to have to know that we weren't going to was, for I think most of these guys, is the first time we haven't had a season since we haven't played football. So, when we were little. So it was really, really difficult for a lot of these guys, I think. But I think we had a really good mindset coming back and going to train day in and day out afterwards.
How is it? Yeah.
Sorry, I was basically just gonna say, you guys should pick up golf in the meantime.
Reg.
Chilling,
bad
man.
advice. Bad advice, Reg.
If you mean it's a social distancing sport, Ron.
No, I want
you
no
can still be
part of that
competitive.
sport. No, Amon, how are you maintaining your mental edge and preparation, knowing that college football has essentially already started, even though it really kicks off this coming weekend?
Yeah, it's tough seeing, I'm watching NBA playoffs and, during the break, they're like, oh, BYU and Navy is playing on Monday. It's tough seeing the advertisement about other schools playing, and we're just, still training. We're in Los Angeles, not having a season. But I think, like Kedon said, I think we saw it coming from afar. It wasn't like, oh, one day you wake up and you breaking news, Pac-12 isn't having a season. It was kind of like a slowing movement, a slowing thing, working towards, that we weren't going to have a season. So I think a lot of guys were expecting, no season, so it wasn't a shock. But at the same time, it was a shock because none of us have never not had a football season. So it's something that none of us has really experienced before. But we're doing a great job here. We're working out hard 4 times a week, training, getting our lifts in. So we're doing everything we can to prepare for a season right now. And I think we're doing just fine.
Curious to you three on campus. Do you want to watch college football, or do you want to just kind of put the blinders on right now?
I'm gonna watch some and see how I feel.
I watched the first half of the BYU game, and then I kind of turned it off. So I couldn't watch it anymore.
I couldn't help myself. I think I'm an addict. I went South Alabama, Southern Miss, Middle Tennessee Army. Yes. I was watching everything I can, and it does. It hurts your soul because even with the 2 guys I got on here right now, the expectations of the seasons that they were getting ready to have. I think you got a Heisman Trophy candidate in Kedon Slovis. I think you got a Biletnikoff, a candidate in Amon-Ra St. Brandon. When you see that as a coach, you're just so excited and just hoping and praying that everything's going to work out and maybe the conditions get better. But patience is going to be a virtue here. And at some point in time, you're going to see these guys, and I can't wait for them to light the world on fire.
And I think that's the most important part is this isn't ideal, especially for you guys, but I'm confident there will be a season, and Coach, you probably know more than I do. Obviously, you're in constant communication with probably higher ups, but that's the thing, you guys. It's going to happen at some point, whether it's November, December, January, and I think I'm confident. We don't know, but and that's the opportunity, right? That's what Reggie and I are talking about. You guys know, you guys are mature. You guys are hell of a ball players and hell of, just great young kids, great young men. So just, it's disappointing, but it's also the opportunity will be there, and it's, will you be ready? And there's no doubt you guys will be ready.
Coach, I want to throw this one at you. If you were placed on a committee to say, all right, this is how we're going to relaunch the Pac-12 football season, whether it's by some miracle this fall, be it in November or in January or whatever, how would you how would you tell them your advice to go about scheduling this, when to start it? And also I'm curious what you think the interaction between the Pac-12 and the Big Ten should be.
Yeah, there's several factors in this, and discussions have already started. There's always planning going on. But again, I go back to those three factors that have to get done. One, infection rates have to come down in our cities. Remember, we play in LA, Phoenix, Seattle. We play in major cities. Those infection rates have to come down. Number two was satisfied, and that was the testing. That was a huge part of this, to be standardized across the conference. And Larry has put in place a system that can get that done. And third, the adequate amount of time to be able to study the heart and see the damage that could be caused by this virus and no more. The conference and the presidents and the chancellors really felt that would take till January to be able to do. They set that date of January. Now, once those infection rates come down, the testing is in place. We know more about what needs to be satisfied with the heart and the study of it. Then you can start. And I think a couple things, more questions have to be asked. One is, for us as a conference, what is the start date? What is the start date? And more importantly, what is the end date? We play the most fast and violent game on the face of the earth. And you got to remember that these guys have to go from one season to the next, and being able to have an adequate amount of time between the end of a season that hopefully could end maybe March, somewhere in there, and give enough time for them to recover for a fall 21 season that you don't want to affect. Hopefully we're all back online altogether. Number two is to make it significant for them, to make it a great experience, maybe to have a conference championship, maybe to have even a merger or a partnership with another league to be able to create a unique bowl game opportunity. So those are questions that need to be asked. I know those are the discussions that are being had right now. You want to be able to, one, make sure the conditions are better, two, make sure there's enough time for these young men to recover from season to season, and make it significant for them. Make it a reward, that it could be a good season with rewards at the end, with a conference championship and a possible opportunity at a bowl game at the end.
If I was a commissioner, I told you right now, Coach, we're ready to start football, how much time do you need?
For us, one of the great things that's happened, the NCAA has given us, that's very, very important, I think, in this time period, as you're looking at basically 40% of your schools right now that are not playing football, is they gave us 12 hours a week to be able to work with the kids, 7 hours of strength and conditioning meetings, but 5 hours of skill development, and being able to use football equipment, be able to use the ball, be able to use the bags, be able to get functional football movement. So we're going to be able to do that this fall. Now, at some point in time, when you declare, okay, this is the start of a season, you do have to work backwards, and you got to have a minimum, I think, of 4 weeks of training camp to be able to, one, implement scheme, but more importantly, to practice the game. And get their bodies in functional football shape. So I think right now we're doing a great job of using those 12 hours to keep our kids in shape, strength-wise, condition-wise, football movement-wise. Then when we declare a start date, work backwards from there, give us 4 weeks to be able to have a true training camp and continue to allow us to gain all that time, those 12 hours a week, up to that training camp from right today till that start.
With the early August movement in the Pac-12, the We Are United movement, Amon, that is asking, just for a greater voice through the course of the Pac-12 through intercollegiate athletics, whether that's health and safety standards, whether that's recruiting, whether that's quote unquote professionalism. So what was kind of the genesis and the pitch to you about the hashtag We Are United?
Yeah, so I remember that first day when it first started, and I remember it was going on for a while. They were having meetings and talking about things. But I feel like it hit really sudden, and I remember getting a text from a few of our team leaders telling me we're going to have a meeting on Sunday, so-and-so, and talk about it. So the first thing I thought was, let me just sit back and listen and see what they have to say and try to gather as much information as I can before I start, making my own thoughts and making my opinion. So some of the guys, decided to post right away and tweet things, and I decided just to sit back wait, see what everyone would happen, see what everyone's thinking. So I wasn't the one on Instagram or Twitter posting things. I rather, sit back and listen before I make an opinion. So I liked some of the things they said, some of the things I didn't agree with, but I mean, I thought it was a pretty good thing that they came up with.
We're a month out since that launch. Have you noticed any difference?
I mean, I haven't really noticed a huge difference. Obviously, it sparked kind of some awareness to begin with, some fire around the college football, but I feel like things have kind of settled down since.
Reg, Matt, would something like this happen in your day and age?
I don't think anything like this would happen because, for something like this to happen, we would have to truly understand. We would have to have information, and we'd have to, I think, understand our value also. Because during that time period when me and Matt were in college, we were doing it for the love of the game, right? Because we didn't know that, there were opportunities for us to, maybe to put together something like this and possibly make demands and try to, improve the game. But I think one of the things that I'm so excited about, when I see things like this, whether all the demands are met or just a few, I think it's always important for you to understand your value. And it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what time of the, where you are in life. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is. It's always important for you to understand your value because, again, we've seen, just day in and day out, how kids are now starting to come out and really, I think, just, put it together in a beautiful way. You know what I mean? Put together their words in a beautiful way and really just talk about, college football on a different level than it's ever been spoken about. I think this is something that me and Matt, we would have loved the opportunity to be able to talk about and understand, but we were so focused on, the goal in front of us that, we really didn't have time. And, again, these are different times that we're living in right now.
Yeah, it's really an interesting and really, like you said, kind of just, it's an incredible time for the players. And their voices are being heard. And Amon-Ra just said it, I think just listening is kind of the word that's always been thrown around, especially as a white man, that played college footballs. And to Reggie's point, when we were playing, it was just it feels like a lifetime ago, but it was different with lack of social media, lack of awareness. There wasn't as much around us. And to Reggie's point, we had that one goal of just trying to get to a championship. With the name, image, and likeness, soon to be coming out. It was just a different time. And really, I think, and I probably speak more for myself, is just really unaware of what was going on because I was just focused, on my team, our locker room. Those are my brothers, as Amon-Ra and Kedon know, as coach knows. And I think now this is really this player movement, which I'm all for. I think it's great. I think the players deserve this, and it's getting to that point, even though these are just really, really different, crazy, trying times, just with the pandemic and everything else. So it's I think when we were playing, Rob, like it never happened, and it never really was a conversation. And now it is. And I think there's some good that we can take out of this year. And that's the players starting to understand, like Reggie said, their value and their place in college football.
Kedon, how have you seen it impact the locker room?
I think the first thing I noticed is, it didn't really come from us. It came from other schools up north. I think Cal and Oregon kind of played a big part in it. So when we had our conversation, the thing that really excited me the most is we kind of came together and had our own team meeting and talked about what we value together as a team. And we had 3 or 4 meetings before we were actually planning to release this team statement, because whatever we wanted to do, we wanted to do together as a team. I thought that was really important. Unfortunately, the season cancellation or postponement, I guess, kind of came in the way of that. But regardless, I was excited to see all the voices on our team kind of come together and, like Amon-Ra said, have a bunch of guys come in and listen and state their opinions and have a good environment to do that.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you something really quick. We do this show. We've done this show every week, and Coach Urban Meyer's on the show, and he's talked about this. And when he was at, I believe it was Ohio State, implementing, having the police officers come and talk to the team and really just kind of creating that conversation and dialogue. I know this is just all happening this summer, and and you obviously as the leader of this team. What were some of those conversations like for you with your staff, with your team, and how do you see just moving forward USC just implementing that change within the community, with the school, and within the team?
Yeah, definitely. This has been a celebration of the student athlete's voice, which is a great thing. And it hit on several fronts. It hit on the health and safety protocol front, hit on the social injustice front. It hit on the advancement of being able to move the student athlete experience forward. And those conversations and being able to listen and learn has been able to address some of the issues, whether it was health and safety that student athletes had a concern with, social injustices that we could better ourselves as universities, as well as, continue to progress the student athlete experience. I've been in it 26 years as a coach, and these type of discussions make progress and make action. I've seen the student athlete experience, as you remember, it used to be a 1-year renewable scholarship. Then it went to 4-year scholarship. Then it went to 4-year cost of attendance. Then it went to an additional redshirt year when you had the opportunity, if you got injured, to gain a 6-year. And now we're talking about name, image, and likeness. So discussion is good, and that it creates action. It creates health and safety protocols that you've seen been instituted by our league. It's making universities think big picture when they look at social injustice and opportunities for Black student athletes at our universities, and allow them to have great experiences and be able to listen and learn. So these type of discussions are terrific. And you celebrate them as a coach. You listen, you learn, you educate yourself, and then you implement things that are going to help your football team advance and move forward.
How do these conversations continue right now, Coach, on your campus during your practices?
Yeah, one of the great things I think that's happened here at our university is the creation of the United Black Student Athlete Association, which has been able to have a voice not only with us as coaches in open forums, but also with our administration. And it's things that all of a sudden you look up. And I thought Mike Bone did a tremendous job of saying, you know what, guys, one of the things that came out of it was, hey, we want the opportunity. We know the significance of voting on November 3rd. Hey, we're not going to train as an entire university at all 21 sports. That day is declared off. We're gonna make sure that everybody has the opportunity to get registered. We're not going to train on that day. We're not going to practice on that day. We're going to have the opportunity to speak our voice and do it in vote. And that's just one example. And by listening and creating and being able to see another perspective from student athletes, it helps create change and helps move things forward and actually have action. So I think it goes from listening to action right now.
So let's talk about that action. Amon, Kedon, what is some of that future action that you guys had planned or still are hoping to plan to continue to push the conversation?
Go ahead, Kedon.
I think a lot of it comes forward to see what happens this following year. Like we talked about the 2021 name, image, and likeness. Obviously, the NCAA talks about that being a possibility in the future. But again, we'll see what happens. And, there's a lot of other things. I think the reason our team wanted to make an independent statement was because of the fact that our university was handling COVID so well and we were testing so well. So a lot of that was mostly to kind of support the other universities, but also acknowledge that we were doing a lot to kind of support that. Again, I can't really go into every detail of what we were talking about because it's pretty in depth, but a lot of the reason we did that was because we thought we were handling it pretty well.
I would certainly assume, Amon, that in early August, when the movement really started and then started gaining some traction, there was daily conversation. But what is it like right now in the locker room and outside of the practice facility about these type of issues amongst you players?
I think with the season being canceled or postponed, it's really quieted down with the conversation about what was really happening before the season got postponed. Because before it got postponed, things were reality, actually. They wanted us to play, and, some guys weren't feeling it. They didn't want to play. They had problems, they had issues. But since the season got postponed, I think everything has really settled down. Like I said, just going to workouts, showing up, getting the work in. No one's really, said anything much. At least I haven't heard much from the movement as I did before. But we're just, hoping for a spring season right now.
So what are you hoping from that spring season? If you were to kind of dictate some of the terms of what that season would look like as a player, Amon, and then Kedon, what should it look like for the Pac-12?
Obviously, we want to be as safe as possible with COVID going on right now. There's guidelines that we have to follow, and we understand that. And we hope that all the other schools are following them too. We're happy with SC right now. They're doing a great job of keeping us healthy, keeping everyone else safe. So I think the biggest thing for a lot of the student athletes are making sure that other schools are following the same guidelines that we are, and that, the Pac-12 is all in unison.
I think just, from an outside looking in, I think that's the thing for me, as a former player, Trojan, and watching you guys is just the disappointing thing. And, I don't want to be too negative, but the disappointing thing of you guys, we always hear this, control what you can control, especially as a quarterback, right? Control what you can control. And I think, you guys have done a great job at doing that. And unfortunately, it hasn't worked out as planned, but I think just the opportunity will be there at some point, and you guys just gotta stay ready, and it's following the protocol, but it's also training and staying sharp and still having those conversations as well, because this is an opportunity where you can either be disappointed, and which you should be. I am for all the teams and players not playing, but it's also an opportunity to stay together and really spark a massive movement in college football that we've never seen. I mean, it's really an incredible time that you guys can take advantage of. So that was just my piece. I was just feeling, I feel for you guys, man. I really do. I really feel for you guys, but again, take advantage of this opportunity. There's an opportunity at the end of the tunnel, and I'm sure you guys are.
Yeah, Matt, I think that's such a perfect message because, this is different times for everybody. If it was just USC dealing with it, then okay, we'd understand maybe. But everybody is dealing with it. Everybody's trying to figure out the best way, I think, to move forward. But I think it's such a perfect message, Matt, that you said, take advantage of this opportunity, because that's what you have right now. You have an opportunity to get better. You have an opportunity to grow, to mature. In this time period that's off, you have an opportunity to better yourself, not only on the football field, but off the football field. And that's why I think it's so important for you guys to understand your value and all the things that you guys have already been doing with the We Are United, a group of men, and also with your team. Because again, when me and Matt were in college, we were not talking about voting, right? Like, we weren't talking about doing those kinds of things. We were focused on playing football, and that was it. Right. But I think now that, what Clay talked about earlier, giving you guys an opportunity to go out and vote, that's so important. That's so impactful. And so now you guys are being educated at a much earlier rate than me and Matt were educated. And so now you have the privilege of info that's going to serve you well 10, 15, 20 years down the road. And that's why I say this is a unique opportunity for you guys. And I love Matt's message, man. Take full advantage of this time off to get bigger, get stronger, get faster, whatever you need to do.
I heard Amon-Ra's been getting swollen in his dad's gym. Must be nice, man.
Truth.
You can see me, dude. I haven't hit the squat rack or shrugs in about 7 years.
Let's end on a positive note. So I want some positive messaging, but it's going to be two separate questions. So first, for the USC legends, Reggie and then Matt, give some advice. Give us a little locker room pep talk to the boys who are waiting to play football right now. All right, yeah. Reg, you're first, kid.
Man, listen, I would just say follow the lead of your coach. I think everything he said today on our Zoom, roundtable has been spot on. Patience is a virtue. And anytime I've been forced to be patient in my lifetime, it's paid off significantly. It's paid off. So I would just say be patient, but stay hungry and do not lose that edge, right? Just because there is no start date right now. Like Matt said, football will be played. Football is going to happen. We're just trying to navigate through these deep waters right now and figure out the best way to keep everybody healthy, which is first and foremost, which Coach has alluded to. So you guys are in great hands, but just focus, lock in, keep your head down, don't worry about anything, and really, I think lock in with your teammates as well. I think this is the best time, for you guys to grow even closer, as a unit.
Yeah, I think you could do, I think that's well said, two things, right? You can hang your head, you can be disappointed, it's fine. You can have emotion, you can be pissed off, you can be angry. I am, and I'm not playing. I love college football. I love watching you guys play. Or you can just, like Reggie said, you can be hungrier than ever. You can say, you know what, like my opportunity is coming, and I'm pissed off. Like I'm gonna go out there, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity. I'm going to do something that I'm very fortunate to be able to do. And that's play college football at the highest level, at the greatest school in the country, with a great tradition and a great history and a great leader and Coach Helton leading you guys. So, like I said earlier, you guys got good heads on your shoulders. You guys are great leaders, but continue to be those great leaders, especially you, Kedon, just as a quarterback. Everyone's watching you and you're young. I mean, you got such a great future ahead of you. But this is an opportunity for you to shine in a different light. And I know you'll take advantage of that. And Amon-Ra too, I've been watching you since high school. So obviously we're Monarchs, man. So you're a special one as well. So be great leaders, stay hungry, patience, like Reggie said. And when that time comes, go out there and ball, man, which I know you guys will.
All right. So now Amon-Ra and Kedon, you go first. Make Trojan Nation feel better. Lift the spirits of Reggie and Matt about what USC and college football is going to be about going forward.
Like we've been saying the whole time, we don't know when our opportunities are going to come. It's still up in the air. We don't know when that next season's going to happen, but whenever it does come, the guys are working. I'm working to become a better leader and a better player as a whole. And like I said, as I watched this offense grow, I didn't think it could get any better. I didn't think Amon-Ra could look any better as a receiver, and he came in this fall looking faster than I've ever seen and looking like one of the best receivers in the nation. So again, just have faith that we'll have a season and have confidence in us, because whenever it does happen, you're gonna be happy with the product on the field.
Listen, real quick, there's two things that I did at USC when in doubt. One, hand off to that guy right there and just watch him run. And two, check the sluggo win, okay? I know you guys probably don't run sluggo win, but Kedon, I'm telling you now, when in doubt, just throw that ball up to that guy right there. I think you'll be fine, dude.
No doubt. That's what the area is all about. Just give your guys a chance.
Yeah, for me, Trojan fans, Matt, Reggie, we're working hard. We're looking forward to the season. And when it comes, trust me, we'll be ready.
All right, Clay, last word for you, Coach. Coach, you got to lift me, general college football fan in America up. Give me a boost, my friend.
Well, know this, adversity hits us all. And it's not what happens to us, it's how we react. It's how you show up in the moment each and every day. And I'm so fortunate because these are two examples right here. Every day, these guys live in the moment. Great players don't know the difference between practice and the game. They have one speed. They're preparing each and every day for their next opportunity, and that's what we're going to do, because it is coming. And it's going to be like that, and it's going to be here, and we're going to be ready. So know that. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kedon Slovis, the guys they got behind them, you're ready for the Trojans to have a great opportunity the next time we get on the field.
That's like my golf game.
My arms pick up, man. That was nice.
That's like my
and
golf
when you
game.
get on the
Coach, I only know
field,
one speed.
What is that, Reg? Fast backswing?
I only know one speed. That's it, Rob, on the golf course.
Hey, when you guys get back on the field, I'm going to tell you something. The three of us and our entire Fox Sports college football team are going to be there for you 100% in your corner. Gents, thanks for the time.
Yes, sir.
Be safe and enjoy what is the new college football.
Thank you, guys. Fight on.
Thanks, fellas.
Appreciate
It took that long for the first fight on, huh? I'm disappointed in you guys.
For the best access, perspective, and personalities in all of sports, follow us at Fox Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.